You know the old saying, SOS, help, which really stands for Save Our Ship? I've got a new one from, this is a JSNIP 4 one. SYS. Secure your silver. Secure you some silver. SYYS. Just a few short years ago, very few. Matter of fact, it was only a couple years, 2 or 3 years, whatever it is. JP Morgan, silver manipulator extraordinaire, had around 5 million ounces of silver in its hoard. As an individual, boy, I'd like to have 5 million ounces. In fact, give me 500,000 ounces, I'd be doing backflips. All of a sudden, as of now anyways, which I mentioned this in the video, they've got 55 million ounces. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 36, we'll call that 10, well, 11 technically, right? 11 million, not 11 million, 11 times what they used to have. It's one thing if I came out here and said, look, JP Morgan had X amount of silver this whole time, and now all of a sudden they've been buying like crazy and they've doubled what they have. That would still be something to say. That would still be worth mentioning. But that's only doubling it. So they've increased their holdings 100%. What they've done here is 1,100%, 11 times what they used to have recently. They've gone from 5 million ounces to 55 million ounces. We're talking physical silver, not paper crap. Only reason the paper's there is to keep the price at whatever price the club wants it at. They want to go up, they let it go up. They want it to go down, they let it go down. It's not even let it. Why am I saying let it? They make it go down. If they want a holding pattern for now, and they don't want gold going above $1,200 and silver going above 16 to 17 or 18, as you've seen recently, they've been able to just hold it wherever the hell they want to. So while they're still playing these games, quietly, supposedly, JP Morgan is stockpiling silver in mass. 11 times what they used to have, which is crazy. So, why am I doing this video? Because you need to secure you some silver if you haven't already. And I know I've mentioned that there is definitely a possibility that when they decide to pull the derivatives trigger, and again, it's supposed to be later this year, and with all the occult weird holidays and cycles of 7, all that crap, all commencing, bunch of them, blood moon cycle, extremely rare. And I was reading that guy David Jonathan Cahn's, his book. I'd mentioned I got that book a little while back, the one that Lindsey Williams' elite friend told him to get. I said, well, if he told him to get it, I'm gonna get it. Like Mario said, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna win. It's me, Mario. So I'm gonna got the book, and I did. And as I mentioned to you, I read through it. I didn't read all of it, but when you're in the bathroom, oh, there it is. Let me read my book. So I've been reading it, and it talks about this particular blood moon cycle because of the additional 2 solar cycles, or eclipses that are positioned, inside of the 4 blood moon cycles, and then one of them's right in the center, and this and that, whatever. This particular setup has only happened, like, I thought he said 6 times, like in the past, you know, since Christ was around 2,000 years or whatever it was. So if it's only happened 6 times, and this is the 7th time fixing to commence, and we keep hearing the number 7, cycles of 7. Christine Lagarde, head of the IMF, cycles of 7, and 7, take away the 0, you're left with 70, 70, take away the 0, left with 7. Talk about the monetary, all right, she is a monetary person, head of the IMF, International Monetary Fund. An elitist organization, tooth and nail. I've mentioned this a million times, I don't need to go back into that and spend any length of time talking about it. You can go find it out. Go on YouTube, you want to see her, Christine Lagarde, cycles of 7 or something like that, or Christine Lagarde occult something or another. Just search YouTube, you'll find it. So this years cycles of 7 ends also September, October. So someone mentioned something to me that they're like, you know, hey man, you remember in the movie Back to the Future, you're talking about the Illuminati symbolism and how 9/11 was foretold. You can see all that stuff. I was like, yeah, yeah. And if you want to see something interesting, go search for that on YouTube. You know, Back to the Future, 9/11. And too many coincidences for my liking to say it's just a nonsense thing. And then as the car is going back in time, so he can warn Doc that the terrorists are going to come kill him, and he's got to go to the clock tower, and the lightning has to strike, and all that happens. And then he makes it back into his time, 1985, just in advance of Doc getting shot. As the car just warped into 85, he goes by some buildings, and the camera pans from left to right real quick to follow the car. Well, if you watch this video online, you'll see they pause it. Oh, look, what's that on the little overhead banner thing hanging over this building? This little awning. It is I'm not talking about just a triangle. Oh no. It's not just a triangle. It is the all-seeing eye Illuminati symbol. And then right next to it is the reference to 9/11, the address or whatever it was. But this person asked me, you remember that? You know, I said, yeah. He said, do you remember what time, the one where they go into the future, what time they had to set on the time machine in the car? And I'm like, no, I don't remember that one. He goes, oh, October, I want to say it was like October 15th, 2015. I'm just going to say, considering September, October 2015 keeps coming up in relation to stock market crash, economic crash, derivatives blowing up, etc. Christine Lagarde's speech herself talking about the cycles of 7, which absolutely mean later this year, because that's when that cycle commences. We have a movie, well, again, the elite love to put stuff in the movies, telling us cycle of 7, Back to the Future, the final series ends, or the final movie ends October 15th, 2015, according to the time machine. Now, you can write that piece off as nonsense, if you will. I don't care. It's just something worth mentioning. And I went ahead and put a calendar reminder on my Outlook calendar that says basically, hey, it's October 15th, 2015, a few days in advance. You know, reminder of Back to the Future. You know, did anything interesting happen recently or now or over the next couple days? Just so that if the answer is yes, I'll remind myself to go do a video to remind everyone else that I said what I'm saying now, and maybe another time before this or whatever, to say, hey, look, you know, because when I'm doing all these videos 4, 5, 6, 7 months down the line, the only thing I could possibly do is say, oh, you remember I was talking about it a while back, such and such? But at least now I know I can say, oh, this is in regards to the Back to the Future thing that I mentioned, and blah, 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 you know, get a little more detailed. And there was another date that I saw that came up too, and I can't remember why, but I also put it on my calendar, and I want to say it was in September. That was like, okay, if something happens on this day, there's another clue, another thing was pointed out or whatever. But again, if JP Morgan has bought 5 million ounces of silver and has had it for a while, and all of a sudden they go 11 times their holding, not doubling it. Do you remember when I was talking about, look, man, George Soros still has the short position on the stock market, which, by the way, to the best of my knowledge, he still has it. And I'm going to say he's probably waiting for later this year. And he doubled his, he doubled up on what he was doing with his short. This was a year ago or so. He only doubled roughly, I think. JP Morgan's gone 11 times, not doubling it. That'd only be 100%. 11 times, 1,100% increase in physical silver. Man, if y'all have not contacted JM Bullion and you need some silver, go to JM Bullion. I'm telling you right now. Matter of fact, I think the banner's on my website, the link to them at realistnews.net. But, I mentioned that, what if they crash the market at the end of this year along with everything else, and then they really go heavy-duty buying gold and silver because they want to fire sell prices? Then it's going to go back up. My thing was, well, if you already got some silver and you want to wait it out to see if it does in fact happen, by all means go ahead, and if it does and you want to buy some more silver, great, you capitalized on a very great moment. The other issue is, what if that's not their plan? Because it's only going to happen if they want it to happen. So my question would be, a logical question, why would JP Morgan go up 11 times its physical silver holding in its own vaults right now if they anticipate the price of precious metals crashing when this all goes down? If you're the elite and you know something's going to go down in price, which they do because they're the ones causing it every time, they don't go and buy it now when the price is somewhere they don't want to pay, only to find out later it's even cheaper. Let's go buy some more now. Absolutely not. The elite only buy when there's blood on the streets, as they say. When something that used to be $70, $80 an ounce, a share, whatever, they're going to get it for $1, $2. JP Morgan allowed and ran the price of precious metals up in 2011, right, to $49 an ounce, and then let it come back down to where it's at today, $16. And some of you will recall, JSnip4 told you when silver was in the low 20s that I had a gut feeling it could go a lot lower. It could go to 15, 16, 17, 18. I do have at least 2-3 videos that said that. Was it because of some special knowledge I had or something I heard? No. Just a gut feeling that, guys, I don't think they're done. I think they can go further. And here we are, we're right where they've been at. And they're buying silver out of control. So, is it possible that $16, $15, $16 silver is the low? It's going to be the low where they've decided to let it go. And from here on out, or whatever time out in the future they decide to let it really rise, whether they control it or not at that time, they already understand and are willing to deal with that because they're hoarding it now. Again, why would they buy it now? Only to watch the price get destroyed later on. And then, again, that makes no sense for a bank. Unless JP Morgan can somehow unload that silver for some reason or another in the meantime, and then let it crash, and then buy it back up. That's a possibility. However, that means they need to start unloading this silver soon if you got 55 million ounces sitting in your vault. And we're getting closer and closer to September, October timeframe. So that's the other side. That's the problem. That's a 50-50, chance, in my opinion. It could crash down if they want to later this year, or it's going to stay where it's at, and then later this year when all this crap happens, the price just starts going up. They've already been sitting on it, buying silver, and are we going to find out before September, October, oh, JP Morgan's 55 million ounces to now turn into 100 million ounces or whatever. Because then at that point, again, one could say, well, they had 55 million and now they've got 110 million ounces. They've only doubled their holdings. Which is true. They didn't go 1,100%. They only went 100%. However, 100% of 55 million ounces is a lot. Whereas 100% of 5 ounces isn't. It's only 5 more ounces, or 5 million more ounces. So you had 5 million, now you have 10. Big deal, right? Well, if you have 55 million and now you double that, that's 110 million. That's a huge move. At the same time, 5 to 55 is a huge move. So, man, I'm telling you, if you don't got it and you're trying to play this game right now, like, well, I don't have any, but I think I want to capitalize the maximum that I can have, I'm going to try to wait for the end of the year to see if they crash it. I'm telling you now, you're playing with fire. If you're doing that, I would never, ever advise that. I would advise get some now, especially. And do like what most people do with the 401k, retirement, and stocks. You invest in something. Your retirement is an investment every single week out of your paycheck, whether it's a 401k or something you do personally or stocks or whatever. It happens every week. And if the market goes down 400, 500 points, 600 points, 700 points in a week, did you stop investing? No, you just kept putting that same amount of your check into that market every week. If it goes up, great. If it goes down, well, sorry, it's just the way it is, right? And then you find out later on, oh, my 401k is a boat anchor attached to my leg, and I can't even get out of it. Can't even do a hardship because I have a job, so they won't even let me get out of it there. Won't let me take the 10% loss and get out of it. Nope, I'm stuck with it. As I've said, call them and tell them, I want you to park my investment on the side in cash. Take it out of the market. I don't want it to be affected if the market goes down. Oh, well, your company doesn't have the XYZ plan with us. So we don't allow that. You can't do that. So another option from what I've heard, potentially, and I need someone to do this if this is for me to report properly, would be move it into some type of IRA or something else, get it out of there and put it into something else, some other type of fund that wouldn't be affected like the stock market, at least at first, you know. So I don't know. I mean, if you can't park your 401k on the side with cash, I don't know what to tell you. But I decided years ago I wasn't going to mess with any 401k, and I'm going straight precious metals, and I chose silver and silver only. I had gold at some point. Decided, nope. The upside for silver, the percentage difference that I could see happening is going to make silver the better investment. Because if you had $1,000 to put in silver and $1,000 to put in gold, when all this goes down, that $1,000 of silver will make you more than the $1,000 you had in gold, even though you'll be extremely happy with what gold did for you. That is my opinion, based on a number of factors that I've mentioned, and that's why I am all in on silver. So the days are ticking. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the year, which I know we're still somewhat in the beginning, but man, time is flying. And like I said, I'll be honest, I can't wait to see what happens, good or bad. All this time we've been waiting, all this time, the bull crap, the spending of Congress and massive trillions of dollars in debt and all that. I'm ready for this to come to a head, to be honest with you. Get it over with, whatever it is. Take care.